Well, Jussie damn Smollett back in the news. Actually, good news this time. Now, his conviction has been overturned. If you recall, during this saga, I said the same thing. His conviction should have been overturned. Doesn't mean I don't know what's up. Here it is.
State Supreme Court there has overturned Jussie Smollett's 2021 conviction. Smollett convicted on charges of falsely reporting a 2019 hate crime against himself. Joining us now is NBC's Adrian Broadus and Kristen Gibbons-Fedden, MSNBC legal analyst and former prosecutor. Adrian, so what exactly happened today?
You know, Jose, a major turnaround in this case. The Illinois Supreme Court has overturned the conviction of actor Jussie Smollett. Many of you may remember he was found guilty of staging a racist and homophobic attack back in 2019. He alleged that attack happened here in Chicago. Now, the court ruled that the appointment of a special prosecutor to re-indict Smollett violated his constitutional rights. He had initially been charged by Cook County prosecutors who later dropped the case, but a special prosecutor was brought in to reopen it, leading to Smollett's 2021 conviction on 5 counts of filing false police reports.
All right, let me break down the reality of this case again. Number one, the court of law and the court of public opinion are very different places. I said very clearly during the time of the Jussie Smollett saga era that I believed he hired the 2 individuals who said Smollett hired them. I believe that story 100%. I believe Jussie Smollett continued to fabricate a story. Now, that's aside from what the legal system did. The original prosecutor, elected duly by the people of that jurisdiction, gave him a deal. Was it a sweetheart deal? Possibly, but you take that up with the elected official who's in charge of prosecution. That deal provided a penalty. So the deal provided a penalty. He served the penalty. A judge in the jurisdiction did not like how the prosecutor exercised prosecutorial discretion with Jussie Smollett. Now, that's ironic because a prosecutor would drop a murder charge in order to get the head person in charge of the organization and allow the person that pulled the trigger to go free, and judges have no problem with prosecutorial discretion in those moments. However, the judge had a problem with this kind of prosecutorial discretion when it came to Jussie Smollett and filing a false police report. So the wheels of justice did something it had not done in decades. It utilized an antiquated law that most judges did not know even still existed. And that judge decided to bring in a special prosecutor in order to prosecute Jussie Smollett a second time after the first penalty was already done. And there you have it. All right, here's your update. The conviction against actor Jussie Smollett for falsely reporting a hate crime to Chicago police in 2019 has now been, as I said, overturned by the Illinois Supreme Court over prosecutorial issues. Smollett's case was reviewed by the state high court. Now, they said something quite interesting and true, which ruled on Thursday that the former Empire actor should not have been charged after he entered a non-prosecution agreement with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. The judges noted that the case generated, quote, significant public interest, and many felt the case's original resolution was unjust. Nevertheless, what would be more unjust than the resolution of any one criminal case would be a holding from this court that the state was not bound to honor agreements upon which people have detrimentally relied. Now, that's the official ruling, detrimentally relied, and he did. You rely with detriment on the word of a prosecutor when you have a deal. This is part of the course. You don't have to be a law graduate to know this. And if you unravel that, you then unravel the very nature of the system that allows individuals to have an element of trust in a very distrustful process already. And the state said, while there was significant press coverage here, and many may feel that the original prosecution was not adequate, this court has a different standard, because instead of ruling on the case of Smollett, what they're ruling on is the case law that will allow a prosecutor to come in and re-prosecute a person twice, thus committing double jeopardy, violating your constitutional right of singular due process. Dan Webb, the special prosecutor who they brought to bring the second case against Smollett, said he respectfully disagrees. Quote, with the court's factual and legal reasoning, he noted that precedents in case law did not explicitly preclude a new prosecution after dismissal without prejudice. Make no mistake, today's ruling has nothing to do with Mr. Smollett's innocence. That's correct. You are right on that. Webb said, noting that his team spent 2 years developing the case for a false police report. You got to really think about the manpower you all put into this. There's more. Smollett was sentenced in 2022 to 150 days in jail and 30 months of probation after being found guilty on 5 counts of felony disorderly conduct. The actor told police in January 2019 that he was the victim of a hate crime, having been brutally attacked in Chicago's Streeterville neighborhood because he is Black and gay. 2 men, brothers Ola and Abimbola Asandaro, were arrested in the investigation. They provided interview context. They were very open and honest about the conversation and how it happened. There was video evidence. Come on, it is what it is. You had receipts, you had text messages. The list goes on and on and on. All right. 2 years, a team, special prosecutors. Who did he kill? Who did he burglarize? What kind of RICO was he involved in? None of the above. It was simply overreach. Now, what Smollett did, detestable to me, because I truly believe he did actually fabricate and do the thing he does best, act. I truly believe that. But when you contextualize it properly within the scenario of the system that decided to provide an injustice as a response to the injustice of one man, well, all right. But the Chicago Police Department later said that Smollett recruited the brothers to help him stage the attack. Smollett was arrested in 2019 and indicted that March on 16 felony counts over allegedly filing a false police report. Now, they did that because he did a press conference. They didn't like that, so they charged him felons. The charges were later dropped, however, by the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. The prosecutor's office said at the time that Smollett was willing to turn his bond over to the city, that was $10,000, and commit to community service. Because of that, the office said it believed, quote, this outcome is a just disposition and appropriate resolution to this case. Chicago Police Department leadership and then Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel criticized State's Attorney Kimberly Fox over that decision. Rahm Emanuel is the guy who signed the cover-up agreement after one of his police officers killed a young Black man. I don't give a damn if he's a Democrat. Emanuel described it is a, quote, whitewash of justice and a moment of special treatment for Smollett celebrity. A special prosecutor revived the case following the original deal and charged Smollett again in the case, ultimately leading to trial despite objections from the attorney of Smollett, claiming this is double jeopardy. What are you doing? Smollett has repeatedly denied the claims that he staged the attack, testifying during his trial that there was no hoax and that he was truly attacked that night. He testified that he developed a friendship with both of the brothers during the man's time on the set of Empire as a background actor. Smollett also said that the friendship included doing drugs, going to strip clubs, and engaging in sexual activity. Both brothers said during the trial that Smollett hired them to stage an attack as a ploy for public attention, noting a $3,500 check Smollett paid them. Smollett's defense said the brothers had been taken advantage of Smollett for financial gain, and the check was written to them for personal training services. And if you ever get an opportunity to hear their side of the story, you will find that they are highly authentic individuals. They were simply looking for more opportunity in Hollywood, and they were all basically part of a conspiracy to do this by way of pay, and they admitted so. All right, Senator, I tried to sum it up as best as I could. What say you?
You did, Doc. You laid it out. So for our viewers, just to put a finer point on what our attorney has just said, Dr. Rashad Richey is an attorney as well. It is the Supreme Court, the Illinois Supreme Court slapped them down on the technicality of a technicality. And Smollett's attorneys tried to warn them early on, but they wanted to keep going. And they did, Doc, actually go too far. And this is really good because this is bigger than Jussie. So we need everybody to understand that, because this lets the prosecutor's office know that we're going to slap you down when you overreach, as they did. Doc, your point about Rahm Emanuel, man, oh man, yes, he covered up before an election so that he can win when he was running for mayor again. I'm sorry, I got to dip on Rahm Emanuel just for 1 minute, since he opened his mouth in this case. Because it was getting so much publicity, he decided he wanted to step in. He didn't have to open his mouth because this really had nothing to do with him. Right. But he covered up the murder of Laquan McDonald.
That's right.
In Chicago, Illinois, just so he could be reelected. And all the truth came out after he was reelected as mayor of that city. Now he got the pure unadulterated gall to try to, the word on the street is that he's going to go for the DNC chair. And I just want those Democrats to know right now, wrong choice, the absolute wrong choice, not just because of what he did in this case, but also what he did to the Laquan McDonald family, the Black community, the school closings, Doc, just don't give a damn about working class people in Chicago. But you know what? He gets a chance to fill up. You know, the Biden administration gave him an ambassadorship. Now they looking to put the man as the head of the DNC. I'm telling you. I know this story wasn't about that, but I just couldn't help myself.
No, but it is about that.
Wow.
It is about that, right? There's proxy connection. And the reality is, even with Biden's selection of Emanuel, there was significant protest from the Black community.
Yes.
Especially to stop that, once again, tone deaf in the
When
administration.
ignored,
All right. We'll bring you updates on that part too.